confuse motherfuckers too when you got the same outfit on.
Huh?
I said, you know, you can get confused motherfuckers with this when you got the same outfit because some motherfuckers get confused.
Right.
I need it. I saved $45 though. It was 80 something.
Oh shit.
See, you just saved $45 from discounts.
It come in January?
Baby.
What's
That's Tuesday.
Oh shit.
Okay. Nigga.
Oh shit, I done lost some days.
They're also looking in January. Like this is January.
I didn't even say that. Say 31st though. I know when it is.
Okay. No, after work, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'll just FaceTime when I get there.
Shit. Let me see something. Hold on. Oh shit, you ready? Or you? My fault.
Damn, I shouldn't have turned the heat down.
Shut the hell up. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
What's up?
When I get off, I'll go.
There you go. Oh shit.
With no son or family. There's my needle.
Oh, you know, I see it. There you go.
Oh, what?
What's up? I'm gonna play with this gun. What the hell?
Nothing. It burned out.
I'm gonna play with this gun. Oh shit. No, I'm fucking with the wrong gun,
My
man.
configuration is different on this motherfucker, so what the fuck?
What's on, man? Fuck it. I put in something that I ain't need to put in. I switched my whole shit up. Bitches. What's up, man?
Nothing.
Talking shit.
Hostile UAV in the area. Enemy UAV overhead.
What you change? You change your, on the side of you, and you change your settings.
Yeah. Something wasn't right.
That's nice. I got both. What's that? What's that?
I was just gonna say it has like a pencil case in the lunchbox. So in case you ever want lunches, I can make her lunch and put it in the lunchbox.
Okay, you said you was gonna get a birthday, so get it on.
Yeah, no, I already ordered it.
Oh, okay.
I did it last night.
It's nice. You got pink and white?
That's what she's doing. The one she really wanted was the 40s. I said, look here, wait a minute. Hold on. She's like, I like it. I want this.
These niggas strapping like a bitch. Oh, shoot. Yeah, he in that part. He up in the building. I ain't paying attention.
Came out last year.
Alright, yeah. That's what's up.
Oh, God, it hurt.
Oh my God. You said what?
You loud as hell in the headphones over there.
Oh, I gotta turn his mouth down there.
I had no idea that was Charlie Murphy.
Hold on. No, I was at that meeting.
I don't understand how my settings changed up on this shit out of nowhere.
They just had an update. They've been that too. But you were trying to get her mode too, though. You were trying to change. Hold on, man. I gotta change this shit. Man, that shit really bad. Hold on, man.
Enemy UAV active. Multiple movers. The enemy is gaining ground. Push them back. Enemy UAV overhead.
time I'm on the game. You get every time I'm on the game. You do it every time I'm on the game, though.
Hostiles launched a cruise missile. Hostile chopper gunner in the
Fucking fly out of here and blow it.
Okay, I got it. What is your bedroom? It goes off.
Enemy bird down.
I ain't gonna my wife do that. Every time. Distract the fuck out of me.
Enemy UAV active.
Alright, I got my shit.
Hostile UAV in the area. Hostile care package deployed.
God damn, cuz. So much going on in your headphones.
I'm about to switch to my phone. You can hear my daughter in the background. I don't understand. I gotta turn some shit down. I gotta adjust these bitches.
Man cave. It might not be the headphones. You gotta adjust the people. You got too many people in the background.
No, they're in the kitchen. They're in the kitchen, so something like too loud. I got something to
in the kitchen?
Yeah.
UAV standing by.
1-1 requesting recon at this time.
I gotta turn something down. I gotta adjust it
Friendly
too.
UAV on station.
Change your backs. Shock charge out.
Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO. We're getting hit hard.
Taking effective fire. The sniper's down. X-ray spotted.
Mission failed. Return to base.
Hi everyone, Extractcraft here, and welcome back to another educational video on how to properly execute an alcohol extraction using. So what we're doing today is we've already done in previous videos the washing, strain, and also the filtration of our alcohol tincture. We use our butyl funnels for that, and so now we have our clean tincture ready to evaporate.
Is it still out?
Yeah.
That's the fuck going.
Crucible up to the fill line. So we'll go ahead and put that in.
Hey, how come I can't put my other loadouts on this bitch?
Nah, you gotta customize them. You gotta customize them. You got a whole different part of the game, that's why. Hold on, let me change my mic, man. This shit up till I figure this one out. Check this.
Enemy personnel at the hard point. Hard point compromised. Secure the area.
Got eyes on a target.
Now I just gotta put it over. I just gotta figure it out.
Hard point. Stand by. Enemies inside the perimeter. Target area updated. Move to the hard point. We have the lead.
Fucking switching mags. Cover deployed.
Locating the next hard point. Get ready. Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Location updated. Capture the hard point.
They tagged me.
Enemies inside the perimeter. We've lost the lead.
Taking effective fire.
Enemy personnel at the hard point. Hostile UAV in the area. Hardpoint relocating. Stand by. Enemies inside the perimeter. Hardline online. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area.
Watch your fire.
Enemy UAV active. secured the lead. Confirming the next hard point. Stand by. Target area updated. Move to the hard point. Hostile UAV in the area.
Grenade out! Reloading! You lose. Switching mags.
Hardpoint relocating. Stand by.
I'm loading. Dropped him. Throwing drill charge.
Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area. You're halfway to mission complete. Keep fighting.
Semtex! Flash! Coming!
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Enemy personnel at the hardpoint. Enemies inside the perimeter.
Thermite!
Enemy personnel at the hard point. Locating the next hard point. Get ready. Quick fix online. Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Location updated. Capture the hard point.
Enemy in the area!
Friendly cluster mine set.
Changing mag!
Hostile cruise missile launched. Enemy UAV active. Hardpoint relocating. Stand by.
Got one! Loading! Changing mag!
Target area updated. Move to the hardpoint. UAV ready for tasking.
Requesting recon flyover.
UAV is on station. Hostile sentry is online.
Throwing grenade!
Enemy personnel at the hardpoint.
UAV is being fuel. RTB at this time.
Swapping mags! Enemy in the area!
Confirming next hardpoint. Stand by.
Throwing drill
Enemy
charge!
inside the perimeter.
Enemy, I'm loading.
Our UAV is orbiting the area. Location upgraded. Capture the hardpoint.
Thermite incoming! Enemy contact! Thermite! Enemy in the area! Subtext incoming!
We've got them on the run. Keep it up. Locating the next hard point. Get ready. Enemies inside the perimeter. Hard point relocated. Secure the target area.
Alright, let's try this again. Running from your stalker.
No pun intended.
What about, the varieties you guys have here? You obviously have so many plants. I think you guys said you were doing like 40,000 pounds a year. So how many varietals is that? How many strains?
Roughly 160 strains. However, at any one time, there's about 12 to 18 strains in circulation.
Of those, what would you say are probably the most popular genetics that you guys are selling right now?
So super important for us to kind of always have our finger on the pulse as a consumer, as a cannabis lover, as somebody who, like most consumers, are always looking for the next best experience. We know that it's important to always be searching and seeking out that next greatest thing. The other side to that is that there's a very classic stable of strains that have been with us for a long time, and the consumers have grown to know and love and appreciate, and they're more importantly expect those same things to be available. So things like gelato, banana, GMO, and Ice Cream Cake 8, which has most recently been renamed in our group Easton's Cut. Those are some examples of some of the most popular strains just consistently, right? At the end of the day, some of the best-selling strains in the dispensaries are some of those classics like Blue Dream and Jack Herrera, and so it's also important to be able to provide those.
What percent of your rotation is kind of those stable crops versus which part is kind of, we'll call it R&D or rotational?
Sure, so 70 to 80% of all of our product you'll find today, which we had 5 years ago.
And so it's very, very important that if a customer comes in and they buy, as an example, an eighth of gelato, and they go home and it's just a wonderful experience for them. Taste, flavor, and smell, and effects, and all of that. They could be in a different store, they could be in a different part of the state. If they find a King's Garden jar of gelato, they can expect that same experience. And so genetics plays a key role in knowing that our gelato is our gelato.
The king of weed, if you want that king of weed experience, then you get the King's Garden bud.
There you go.
Another thing that I did not know, but SC Labs, which I know is a third-party independent laboratory that tests for, pesticides, cannabinoids, terpenes, all those things. You guys got the highest test they've had in California?
Our Category 3 compliance testing for GMO was somewhere in the 44 point something total cannabinoids.
GMO, garlic cookies.
The garlic cookies cut that we have, tested in the total 44%. THC was in the high 30s, I think, believe somewhere around 38% or 37% THC. So this is strong, strong stuff. Previous to that, we had a banana OG that's been in our stable for over 10 years. It had a record of around 36% total cannabinoids, and GMO just kind of came and hit that one out of the park.
Wow. It reminds me of the statement we were talking about earlier. It was like, a fresh take on an ancient crop. And this is your fresh take. It's you putting your formula into these genetics, and that's the output. Okay, guys, thank you so much for that info. I think I'm ready to hit propagation and see how these genetics come to life.
Yeah, go enjoy. We got Mike over there. He's going to take good care of you and show you how it works. Brother, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Mike, thank you for letting me crash your propagation party you have going on over here. So, King's Garden, obviously you guys have a reputation that precedes you. People are always curious, how do people get jobs in roles like you? I mean, you're the propagation nursery manager of King's Garden.
When I originally started, I actually got brought in as a trimmer. I was there collectively for maybe about a month and a half. I wanted something more. I wanted more connection with what I was actually doing. I didn't want to just trim and then go, and just work my way up. After working with the plants for a little bit, I was given an opportunity to work with the mother plants. And after working with the mother plants, I found out how much of a passion it was for me to work with them. And it just grew from there, and now here I am.
Okay, so how many mothers are we talking in this room alone?
Right now, I'm roughly sitting around 85 mothers.
Okay.
And that'll fluctuate depending on new strains that we're possibly bringing up, having to possibly get rid of a mother due to its health or what have you. Right now, we have maybe roughly about 50 strains in here or so.
Why don't we chat about your guys' strategy for growing these mothers? How do you keep them happy?
I think it starts with the King's cocoa that we use. a combination of the silicon, the aqua flakes, our CalMag, HydroGuard, keeping it at a proper ppm, and the pH level is essential. If your pH levels drop too much or they raise too high, then you're not going to give the plants what they want.
When you have these mothers here, are you trying to clone, like, let's say, 20 at a time per mother? How do you guys figure that out?
You're always trying to get a certain amount depending on what rooms you're trying to fill. But something I always try to implement with my training when I teach my guys how to clone off a mother is to not cut for the quantity, but to cut to shape the plant. The clone count will come, but if you're just chopping at your plant, then when you go to clone the next time, you may have potentially just totally hindered your ability to clone off that plant again.
Got it. So it's more important that you keep the mother healthy than, let's say, you hit the exact number of clones you need for that day.
Exactly. So after we get our clones, then we're going to take it down so we can plug it inside of our Rodan rock wool. It's a 2-inch rock wool. It has 50 sites per tray. And we end up using a Clonex solution and a Clonex gel. While they're in the trays, they're roughly in the trays for about 2 weeks. As you're watching them, you want to watch how much moisture is actually collecting on the tray lids. Knock it out frequently so that way it's not causing all that water, all that condensation to sit on top of your clones. And then you also want to implement a venting system to where it allows airflow to go into the trays at a slow pace, though, because if you do it too quickly, you're going to shock out your clones, and then as it progresses, I'll open it a little bit more. Now, towards the end of them being in the trays, before they're getting down to the veg, I'll actually lift the lids a bit to allow more airflow in. And a couple days prior to going down into the veg rooms, I'll actually remove the lids completely, so that way they have a chance to acclimate to the fresh air.
Got it. Okay, because I know inside of those domes as clones, when there is that much kind of water in, like a Rodan, it'll be like 90, 100% relative humidity.
Right.
So what do you guys keep this room at in terms of relative humidity and temperature that they will get kind of acclimated to?
As far as your humidity levels, it's roughly about like your mid-60s or 70% humidity in here. Temperature-wise, it's between 75 to 80 degrees in here.
Mike, so I see all these racks. They look beautiful. They're clean. They're uniform. We're talking 200 clones per level. 800 clones per rack.
Correct.
And it looks like you guys are doing about 6 inches here. And the clones are probably about 5 inches, so maybe leaving 2 inches for growth.
Right. Definitely. You don't want your clones pressing on your lids. You have to worry about rot.
Mike, thank you for letting me invade your space and teaching me all about propagation here at King's Garden.
No problem.
Bigger. Thanks for bringing me into the King's Garden bedroom. How many plants do we have in here?
At any given moment, we're running 2 cycles of plants in here, which will end up in our flower. There's usually at least 4,000 plants in here.
Kicker, how are you keeping all these plants healthy in this room? What's your strategy?
So from the propagation area, we'll tear a plant off of the 50 count and plant it right into here, this half-gallon pot, surrounded by some of our King's cocoa, which is just a cocoa peat made from coconut husk. Prior to that, we'll actually flush the cocoa with a CalMag solution, just to sort of ensure that the pH of the soil is good, and that it's good and moist, which makes it easier for planting, actually. So once the plants are secure and in their homes here in the half-gallon pot, we put them pot to pot over there, and that kind of creates a certain environment, having them that close together, where it sort of retains a certain amount of moisture, not too much, not too little, and it sort of mimics the propagation trays with the lids. Once they get so big, then we take the time to spread them out and give them space, rather, to branch out and grow. And here we do hand watering, which is on purpose. That's basically so we can sort of monitor the plants as they're growing, and we do what we call cherry picking, trying to pick out the best crops and to ensure that our flower rooms are just top notch. Every time that these eat, what they're going to have is our full veg feed, and that's going to start with our Dynagrow Protect Sill. And I'll let that mix for a few minutes before I add the House and Garden Aqua Flakes Part A. If you add those two too quickly together, they'll get a little gummed up and you'll get a nutrient lockout, which you don't want to happen in your tank. After Part A, we will add CalMag. After the CalMag, the House and Garden Aqua Flakes Part B. From there, once everything's got a good consistency going, I'll add the final ingredient, which is my HydroGuard, which is a root inoculant.
Kicker, other than the nutrients that you're feeding out, do you guys ever foliar feed, miss the room, anything like that?
We do. We actually do 2 different foliar sprays while they're in veg. One is kind of for a feeding purpose, and the other one is mainly just for an antifungal. The first one, which we call CSR, is cow mag mixture, mix it with the seaweed, which is also fed through the irrigation as well sometimes, and then this antifungal called Regalia. The plants really seem to like this. It's sort of a feed and protectant at the same time. That one will be once a week.
Kicker, it seems like you guys really have a lot of discipline, and this is my environmental controls, and by that I mean lighting, humidity, temperature, nutrient regimen, and if something deviates from that, even if it's a strain that, let's say, consumers are demanding, you say, you know what, it doesn't fit the way that we do business here in terms of those environmental controls, where you got to take it out.
So we've worked really hard on our recipe and regimen here, using House and Garden and other products, and it's producing some of the highest testing cannabis in the entire nation, and we like to stick to that regimen, and unfortunately if a plant doesn't fit well with that, then we're going to have to stick to our guns and cut them loose.
Kicker, what about time and room? When plants come into here, how long are they hanging out in veg?
2 weeks propagation, 4 for veg, and then 8 weeks for flower, every strain.
Got it. So if a strain needs a 10-week flower, then it's a strain that's not for King's Garden.
Exactly. Nailed it.
Kicker, thank you so much for the time. I think next up is the flower room.
Go for it, man. Enjoy.
Roll one, scene, flower one, take one. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Tyler, we're finally here, a flower room of King's Garden, and it is loud. I mean, we have probably 24-inch drum fans, maybe 15 of them in this room. The air's flying around us, and these buds are looking phenomenal. Now, these are your babies, Tyler, so let's go into your history cultivating cannabis and how it's led you to King's Garden and managing all these crops.
I've been cultivating cannabis for about 10 years now. At a large scale, I've been doing it for about 7 years, kind of all around California, between Orange County to here in Palm Springs.
I don't even think I can keep track of how many buildings you guys have. Can you?
Yeah, so we have, with cultivation, we have 9 cultivation facilities, a total amount of grow rooms between flowering and veg, 54 rooms.
Wow, okay. So this room in particular, I mean, I think I see you guys are running 1,000-watt HPS DEs. And what are you guys using here?
So we use Gavita light fixtures, 1,000-watt, double-ended. We've used them since basically they started. We've always had solid results from them, and that is why we won't steer away from Gavita to use a different light fixture. They're right around 6-7 feet above canopy. That's usually where we try to keep it. The lights are hung at about 12-13 feet, and our tables are about 3 feet off the ground. Your plant is going to vary anywhere from 3 to 5 feet high.
Okay, got it. And so I'm glad some of our friends at Summer Blue Optics were able to send some of these down for you and your crew. They're really good when you have a flower room that is this bright. Basically, they block all UV, and I just basically use them in every grow op I go into because I spend too much time in grow ops. Like, I don't want to lose my eyes when I'm 60.
You and I both, brother. You and I both. It allows a lot of the color to pop a lot more. At the same time, they're very fashionable. They're very efficient. I like them a lot.
So, rolling benches. I know that these are kind of like basically a standard in commercial cultivation. If you want to be efficient in your square footage of any facility, what benches are you guys using here?
So we use GGS benches, custom fit to whatever size of the room that we're building. They're very sturdy. They lend to a lot of support for our plants. Very easy to roll. Doesn't matter how many plants or how long the bench is. So we're able to fill this whole entire room and make our walkways when needed, whenever we actually need to get into the room to be able to do something. It's the only rolling bench that we use.
And I'm seeing that, in veg, we were talking with Kicker. He was doing a lot of hand watering, but at the scale you guys are doing for flowering, I mean, you guys really have to automate flowering, right?
Absolutely, and we actually get better results from doing so. So what we do is, in the vegetative state, we're going to spot hand water our plants. That is going to allow us to get an even moisture level across every single plant. So by the time that we're coming into our flowering room, and we lay out all of our pots, we fill them with all of our King's Cocoa. We're going to do a full freshwater drench with some biologicals, some nematodes to battle any potential pests that might occur during the flowering cycle. From there, every single plant is going to have an even moisture level because of our Netafim spray stink emitters.
You were talking about this transition that you guys do at King's Garden. Nothing is like a light switch. It's all basically progressive.
Correct.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we kind of baby every single step. We let everything acclimate, from our environment to our feed to our actual transplants. So from that half-gallon pot, we're then going to come into the flowering room after a harvest. So we'll harvest the room, we'll completely scrub, sanitize. From there, we're going to transplant our half-gallon pot into our 3-gallon, but we're going to let that acclimate to this new environment. It's got more airflow. We're going to start tailoring the lights, the wattages up on the lights just a little bit every single day until we reach that 1-week period. At that 1-week period is then we're going to flip the light cycle from 18 hours and 6 hours of light and darkness to 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness, then telling the plants, hey, it's time to start producing your fruits. We're in flower now. And then from there, we'll start tailoring down our temperatures accordingly and tailoring up our feed.
Not a lot of people are doing that, dropping their temperatures pretty drastically as the flowering phase goes on. Can we touch base on that a little bit?
Of course. So once you understand vapor pressure deficit, VPD, you're trying to duplicate nature indoors. So what's happening outside when you're trying to grow a cannabis plant? You're going to start, and in that season, it's going to be hot and humid. By the time you're ready to harvest that plant, it's going to be cold and dry. So we're trying to mimic that same exact thing inside. The only thing is we have a better ability of being able to do that because we have full room control. We have tons of air conditioning. Because we're here in the desert, we usually run about a half a ton of AC per 1,000 light fixture. And with that, we'll start tailoring down our temperatures as the plants become more mature and they get into a stage like this. So where we're actually, on the last week of flower, deep into a negative VPD, vapor pressure deficit, where it's freezing cold at night, because now at nighttime our ACs usually would not be running, which is the biggest dehumidifier in your room. Your DUs now have an extra helper. So we use nighttime stats on our air conditioning, which allows the ACs to keep running, to keep the room nice and cold in its night cycle, and to suck all that moisture out and to drop those temperatures. What we're achieving by doing that is we're getting these really, really nice colors in a lot of our flowers. We're getting a deep, dark purple in a lot of our strains. And with that, we're also getting extremely high test results because we're shocking these plants out a little bit in their very last week of its flower stage. So it's actually lending to higher test results across the board.
That's rad. I am thoroughly impressed with your guys' flowering room. This has been, for me, like a kid in a candy store. So I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely.
Charlie, it's rare that I walk into a drying room and I almost feel like there's like a humidity of terpenes. That's like honestly what it feels like, and I think it's attributable to the fact that you have so many plants compared to the cubic footage of this room. I mean, it is like literally wall to wall to wall, and I almost feel like my senses are just like on overload right now with the smells.
Yeah, it's packed pretty full, and because of the point that this is at in its drying stage, being near the end of that, you're really starting to smell, you know, all of the odors and flavonoids and terpenes that are present. So it's a bit pungent in here. It's thick. I'm sure you'll be smelling it, and everyone else that comes and encounters you later today will.
Oh yeah. I'll definitely have an odor in my wake going through Palm Springs. So, you know, this room is what, like, gotta be close to 20 feet tall?
So yeah, we're at about 18 feet high, and we got about 800 square feet. So I believe we're sitting somewhere around 14,000 cubic feet. Yeah, mechanically we have about 15 tons of air conditioning and about 600 pints of dehumidification just in this room alone.
Got it. So when you're trying to keep those parameters in check, I mean, let's say you move the plants in, I would imagine the humidity spikes up a little bit, everything tries to compensate, right?
For sure. So certain times of the year, certain times of the drying cycle when the plants are wetter or when the outside temperature is hotter, an air conditioning might be working a little harder, or a dehumidifier a little less. But the point being, the end result is going to be that 60 degrees Fahrenheit, that 55% relative humidity. The end result is what matters. How you get there is through precise mechanical controls.
So I think I noticed that you are running basically unistrut. You got some plastic trellis netting, and you're doing the whole plant dry. And how did you organize this? What works out well for you guys?
Yeah, we just dropped some unistrut down, so we make a little unistrut grid that's dropped down off of some all thread. And then from that, we hang just plastic trellis netting. That gives us the ability to use the vertical space.
Charlie, post-curing, I know where your flower goes next. And to me, I almost think of it as like the mission control of the cannabis industry, and I think we have to show the viewers what this looks like.
Like everything we do, we're excited and proud to show it. Come on, let's take a look.
So I'm here with my main man Cam, who has been telling me all about this crazy trim room, to be honest. Trim rooms are known for being dirty, cramped, and this is like anything but that.
Yes, sir. Very clean. Everything's clean from the suits every day. They get a new suit. You got face masks, hairnets, booties, 70 ISO alcohol in here to clean everything. Tables, chairs. I mean, everything's clean top to bottom every single day. Cleanliness. Cleanliness is the number one factor here. Everything has to be clean. There's microbials, and microbials will fail your cannabis.
Got it. So, I mean, this is hyper customized to the way King's Garden does business and the amount of volume you have. And, you know, speaking to that, the way you guys do business is 100% hand trimmed.
100% hand trimmed. Everything that goes into our King's Garden jar, 100% hand trimmed. So we don't believe in putting out a product on the market that is trimmed by a machine. So everything that we do trim is trimmed by hand.
You know, with how much you guys have really going through here, I mean, what are we talking per week or day?
So on a good day, we get 170 pounds, which is crazy. On our average days, normally we get 145 pounds. So every trimmer's pushing out consistently a lot of weight, and that's good because the more that they do, the more that they make. Everyone in this room is a piece rate employee, so they get paid off their own production.
Okay, so I know that you guys are doing a lot of hand trim, flour. You guys are doing pre-rolls too.
Yes, sir. We are doing some pre-rolls. We're using the STM Canna Rocket Box. It's a very nice piece of machinery. It vibrates on different levels, so you get the perfect level of cannabis in your pre-roll. The Rocket Box actually allows us to do about 453 joints every 5 minutes. And, you know, anytime we've ever had a problem or an issue with the machine, which hasn't been very often, we can call them, they'll FaceTime us, video chat with us, show us what's going on, show us how to fix certain things and dial certain things in.
Cam, no pun intended, but this room is dope.
Thanks, Dan. We really appreciate that. We really appreciate you stopping by, man.
Lauren, Sarah, I'm so glad that I ran into you two in the hallway because I've been jumping all around this facility, and it turns out that you two are really telling the story to everyone outside of the facility. So let's go over your roles here.
I'm Lauren Stephanie, and I'm the Director of Field Marketing here at King's Garden. I'm Sarah Halpern. I'm the Director of Social Media here at King's Garden.
Lauren, can we start with the logo? I was so curious when I came in, and I want to know what it represents.
So obviously, one of the biggest things as a company that you need to do is have a vision for the future and have a light that really motivates you for it. So we have an eye for the future, and we hope that that is a light to people, particularly in this industry where you run so fast and then you run out of money. We're not going to be those people who will be here tomorrow and the next day and then moving forward because we have a vision for where we want to go.
And, you know, the thing is with dispensaries, these aren't King's Garden dispensaries. You guys don't even have a dispensary. You guys are really hyper-focused on the cultivation and the quality of product. And you use the resources of all the other dispensaries in California. How many locations are you guys in?
We're working with about 500, if not a little bit more, across the state of California. And honestly, like, that's our biggest thing. We want to do more.
Sarah, the King's Garden Instagram page is pretty hot. I mean, you guys have like over 70,000 followers today, and I'm sure it's growing at a pretty fast rate with what you guys are doing. How do you guys use social media to interact with your customers?
So King's Garden is extremely transparent in our process from seed to sale, and one of my main roles and something I really enjoy doing is placing the user who's looking at our Instagram or any of our social pages into the facility, into the grow, and also interacting with consumers as family. King's Garden is a family. We always try and give consumers the best recommendations possible. We have a store locator as well. Most people don't really understand seed to sale, and that's something incredibly unique, and we're really proud to showcase our process.
Lauren, Sarah, thank you for the insight about King's Garden. Now to the next aspect of the grow.
Awesome. Enjoy your tour. Thank you.
What's going on, guys? Super special day. Oh, we got the Canna Crips crew filming our crew. We're filming Canna Crips filming us.
So, Ivan, you're one of the owners of King's Garden. How did that come to be?
I was born in Russia. At the age of 14, I moved to England. Spent 10 years in England, and that's when I actually got introduced to cannabis. And when I came here to US in 2010, just for a holiday, I realized that I can actually do what I was doing in Russia and UK legally. So that's when I made up my mind to move out here for good.
Ivan, can we touch base on some of the products you guys use for this distribution?
The most essential for the distribution route for product room is a humidity tank, because especially in desert, humidity levels drop quite significantly. And the brand that we're using is Bovida. Actually, we have John in the building as well from Bovida, so he can go into more details and specifics of the science of the actual pack. Why don't we bring him in so he can talk about it?
Awesome. Thank you, Ivan, for teaching me everything.
Thank you.
So, John, you're coming and visiting one of your customer partners here at King's Garden. What is your role at Bovida?
I'm the sales executive in Southern California.
So how does the Bovida product, in your experience, help people produce good cannabis and keep it that way?
So the science behind it, what's actually happening is creating a monolayer around the flower, preserving the terpenes from off-gassing into the environment. It's keeping the cannabinoids inside the flower, so it's keeping all those great aromas inside the flower and the flavors. So when you go to smoke it, it's still there.
I think I understand. So it's almost like the monolayer is like a trichome force field.
That's right.
Okay.
Saving the terps.
Saving the terps. So, and for those growers out there watching, I know that you guys are doing this pretty cool thing. It's like a PepsiCo challenge kind of thing. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we started the Bovida challenge late last year, so we've sent out a Bovida kit to thousands of people, consumers, growers, etc. 94% of the responses have come back to say that the people prefer their bud with Bovida versus without. So 2 C-ball containers, one with the Bovida, one without the Bovida. Leave your cannabis there for at least 2 weeks. Go back. Not just you smell both flowers, the test will say. Then grind both flowers, smell them again, then smoke both. And which one has more terpenes of a higher flavor profile? And the answer is with Bovida. It works.
John, really appreciate the knowledge. Thank you for helping me save those terps.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Tommy, glad to be in the packaging room here at King's Garden. So the packaging that you guys have here, I know that's close to the chest for you. Can we touch base on that? What your philosophy is at King's Garden for packaging?
Yeah, for us, what it really means to go into a King's Garden package, you don't take these painstaking efforts to cultivate these very elegant, powerful strains that we do and not put it into an elegant packaging. Think about our baller jar. For us, it was creating a custom jar, custom lid, thick glass, debossed, embossed, gold lid, something that I had this vision of that when you walk into a dispensary, it would be more like that scene out of Monty Python's Holy Grail where it's, just, the gold hits you, right? So,
yeah. Now let's jump into the nitty gritty. How is packaging actually done right here in this room?
Great question. One of those things that we have is the precision batcher. So this is one of our things that we're really super pleased with. And I have somebody here today that can actually explain it a little bit more in detail than I could.
Partner, I'm really excited to have a chance to speak with you about this machinery behind us. What is your role in making and designing this machine?
My purpose in engineering and designing equipment like this is to design it with a purpose in mind. And in this case, in packaging, very unique product in cannabis flower.
So, the less product handling, I think you brought up this term that I thought was pretty clever. What do you guys call it at Greenwald Systems?
We hold the patent that we developed, our air cush product handling, which is zero touch product handling. No mechanical means of movement. Uses very gentle, short puffs of air to move the flower through the process.
The coolest thing is, man, I can't even tell you how many eggs I've weighed out in my day. The part that pains me kind of is like, you do lose some of that bag appeal when you're taking a beautiful bud and you're breaking it apart. But what your machine is doing, it says, okay, give me a ton of buds. This algorithm is going to figure out these 3 can go together and I will never break apart any of these buds to make that happen?
That's right. Less handling means better quality retention, less trichome loss, just a better looking end product. Second thing is accuracy. And then, of course, efficiency. You know, where a person hand scaling might be able to package 1.5, 2 pounds in a day, this machine will produce 1,000 packages an hour.
Wow, 1,000 packages an hour.
Yeah, which equates to about 3.5 kilos or a little over 7 pounds in an hour.
Arnar, for those commercial cultivators watching, where should they go if they're interested in talking to you guys about one of your machines?
Best place to start is to contact our premier partners at Grain Bros.
You know, this product is obviously a game changer for the cannabis industry. Thank you so much for the debrief.
Thank you.
Matt, awesome. The guys at King's Garden just got out of their cultivation facility and they told me to visit you specifically at the vault.
Man, the King's Garden guys are really cool and it's been doing phenomenal in our shop so far. So I'm glad that they sent you over, man.
So Matt, I wanted to ask you, you know, at the vault, how many different brands do you carry here? I know you carry King's Garden, but how many?
As far as total brands, I want to say between 30 to 40. Flower, we like to limit it between, 8 to 12, just so we can keep a really vocalized group on our flower and what brands are coming in. People are a little picky with what they like, and as far as the vault's concerned, is we just want to be able to give people the best flower, good THC content, fresh as possible, and King's Garden is never come to fault. Anything that you buy from here, especially with the King's Garden products, you're allowed to use in the lab so you can get immediate gratification and honestly immediate feedback.
Well, I mean, this place is awesome. What I'd love to do is basically buy some King's flower and maybe even enjoy it here.
Yeah, let's get you started. Let me pull up a profile for you. Awesome. Do you have your ID? I can log you in our system and get you some flower right away.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a pretty easy system. Trees just allows for a simple scan of the ID, and it creates your profile right away. And no signatures, no papers to sign or anything like that.
That's awesome. So you guys use Trees too? It's like every dispensary I go to, it seems like is using Trees these days.
You know, Trees is it's reliable, to say the least. The analytics, hit every part of the money when we, as far as a buyer standpoint, wanting to see what sells the most in the shop and just kind of what sells the best. And then as far as the inventory standpoint, it's very responsive with metric. Having a POS system that's has a team backing them that's responsive in case I do run into some problems. So Trees is proven to be pretty reliable.
That's awesome. Well, let's get some King's flower. Light it up. Time to hit up the bowl.
Alright, no shit out there.
Hey, this is Nick with Growers Network and Cannon Cribs. In this episode, we took a road trip out to SoCal to film Tikkun Olam, the first company in the world to get a license to legally study cannabis. You might have noticed that I'm here in a recording studio. It's because I just got done interviewing someone for the Cannon Cribs podcast. If you want to hear stories of all the different leaders around the world shaping the industry, check us out. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and of course YouTube. We appreciate all your support, and we hope you enjoyed this episode at Tikkun Olam. Happy growing.
Hi, my name is Nate.
owner of Growers House, one of the top suppliers of cultivation equipment in the world. I help growers source equipment and put together some of the largest, most advanced cannabis growing operations. I am constantly looking for the top products and methods needed to grow the best cannabis. Join me on a tour where I get inside access to the industry's leading cannabis grow ops. This, my friends, is Canna Crips.
Hey everyone, Nate with Canna Crips here, and we are in Adelanto, California, home of Tikkun Olam's USA-based operations. Now, Tikkun Olam is the most research-driven cannabis company in the world. They have partnered with preeminent cannabis scientists, mainly out of Jerusalem at Hebrew University, including Raphael Michelin, the person who first isolated THC as a cannabinoid. Also, for you cultivators out there, go to growersnetwork.org and join the forum so you can participate in conversations with the best hobbyists and commercial growers in the world. Lastly, if you want to work on your craft, we have classes for both hobbyists and commercial growers. Go visit growersnetwork.org after this episode. For those of you new to watching Canna Crips, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Your support helps us produce future episodes. Let's go inside and visit one of the most impressive cannabis facilities in the world. I never thought I'd have the opportunity to be at a Tikkun Olam facility in the United States. I want to tell the world about the Tikkun Olam story because I think it will be a household name very soon.
You know, and being a household name, that's going to be really nice because we'll turn everybody into Hebrew speakers. For some people who don't know Tikkun Olam, that words actually mean repair the world in Hebrew. So you're speaking Hebrew. Tikkun is repair, Olam is the world, which is essentially what our mission statement is to go out and to repair the world. The company started out in early 2000s, about 2003, 2004, as a kind of R&D type of thing to show that cannabis is very effective for treating certain diseases and ailments and to help people improve their quality of life. They actually identified certain strains into certain ailments and actually did research-backed studies on those products and strains.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is there are some companies that you can talk to or people, groups of people who have tried different strains and say they work for this or for that, but it's all a little bit personal and doesn't always have this longitudinal study or these double-blind studies, these things that really you feel like you can understand with a high degree of certainty. But Israel's been doing that. Tikkun Olam has been doing that in Israel. They're like a decade or two ahead of the rest of the world.
Israeli culture being very a curiosity bunch, research is actually a lot more lenient to be done. So there's a lot less obstacles when you want to try to prove something. But it's another gain access. So access is actually easier in the United States, but the research, yes, is definitely ahead of the game because it's been there for so long. In Israel, it's a country is really responsible for medical cannabis being where it is today because Raphael Michelin, like you said, was the first person that isolated THC. Ruth Galili in 77, and I believe a professor here in the United States, Julian Howlett, found the endocannabinoid system. And really, those three, I believe, are like our godfathers of cannabis research.
These are the people that I've been reading about since I first got into the cannabis industry, and to know that this is the facility that partnered with them to build strains based on the most research and academic knowledge available. I want to see those strains.
Yeah, so consistency is something that's very important, especially to a global organization. We have to make sure that when people are using our product, and also when you're talking about a study, that the medicine does what that study says, or it's at least as consistent to that study as it's supposed to be. And therefore, one of the things that we do is tissue culturing in this room, where we basically ensure no genetic drift in our plants. We always keep a fresh batch of moms here that we continue to cycle off as well, and we do all of our mass cloning in here. And I will let Ulrich, our PhD plant scientist, tell you more about that.
Ulrich, your reputation precedes you. So I heard you have a PhD in plant science. Can you tell us what you were focusing on?
Yes, I came here after getting my PhD at the University of Kiel in Germany in plant science, mainly to learn about genetic engineering of plant resistance to pests and pathogens.
You have your own tissue culture lab, and one of the most interesting things you told me about is no plant has ever come into this room who was not brought in through a tissue culture sample.
Yes, this is what you would call our genetics spawn. So we're using the tissue culture to make sure that whatever grows in here does not already bring in any kind of mites or viruses or molds or all these different things that can hurt the plant. And tissue culture is a way to basically go back and kind of clean up the plant and start with something that is free of these infestations.
What's in that agar? You said nutrients.
Yes, it's basically a mixture of nutrients, energy source, which is basically sugar, the agar that makes it solidify, and you have to add certain what they call plant hormones or plant growth regulators. And a lot of these mixes are kind of standard mixes that have been developed already back in the 70s when the tissue culture really started. But you have to adjust it to the different crops that you're growing. So what I used previously in tobacco does not work for these cannabis plants. And the bottleneck for most is still the rooting. We did something that works pretty well for us, and that's kind of like a proprietary blend that we're putting into that agar to make sure that these little shoots will eventually root.
Got it. Part of the secret sauce. I know that consistency is important for chicken.
If you don't have the secret sauce, it's not going to work. So it's very simple. They will not root.
Ulrich, so you said that you move into these root riot cubes that you guys are using for a lot of your propagation. What about the nutrient recipe for that? Is that something you guys would be willing to divulge?
For both of our conventional clones and also for the little tissue culture plantlets, once they start making roots, we're using the root riot cubes and we soak them in a pH 5-6 general hydro starter solution. We also add some extra IBA in, which is the same compound that is also in the Clonex. And we also dip the clones in the Clonex. So there's basically several ways in which we apply this hormone, and we have had very good luck with the root riot cubes. They are practical in many ways. Part of it is the consistency of the moss, which has turned out to be just easier to handle than regular rockwool cubes. It's very good to plant delicate little clones in it. And of course the tissue culture clones are very, very delicate, they bend easy, they break easy, and so we can get those in there in a more easy way than we could with a regular rockwool cubes.
And I noticed you're using LED lighting throughout the facility. What's optimal for you guys?
We turn them down anyway to where we have not more than about 150 par.
You know, I like that you're thinking about it, and not what the wattage is of the light, but what the par is actually at the canopy. It almost doesn't matter what light you use. You want that par level at the canopy that the plants respond best.
Right, and you want the spectrum right. I mean, this is like the wattage itself really tells you only how much the electrical bill will be. The par reading tells you exactly how much light you have on the plant, and the spectrum tells you what kind of light it is within the visible spectrum.
Ulrich, thank you so much for the information. I think our next stop is the vegetative room.
Well, thank you, and it's great to have you here.
Tell us a little bit about your role here.
So I'm the head of the cultivation department for the state of California, Tikkun Olam, and my responsibility is quality control here, SOP development, and I also maintain and set up practices for all of our cultivators.
Rami was saying, you guys are really kind of like the epicenter of the SOPs for Tikkun globally in terms of cultivation strategies, things of that sort.
So, you know, you have Tikkun Greece, you have Tikkun Israel, They're bringing on some things for Korea. We're working on that. Australia, Canada was the Aurora. We have a Florida. We have a lot of things throughout the states. They look to us to develop the best practices. It's what California is famous for. So they come to California to get their quality standards.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it seems like in Israel they're doing a lot of the almost laboratory research, R&D, and then you guys are taking some of that like California cultivation know-how, and you guys are marrying those two, right?
Yes, absolutely. Our thing is we are cannabis craftsmen here. All the people here are all lovers of cannabis. This is all, a passion project for all of these guys.
Exactly. Well, Chris, what is your background in the cannabis industry? I mean, this is a big responsibility. We're talking a global SOP.
I had the blessing and a curse of being in a motorcycle accident about 13 years ago and paralyzing myself from here down. So at that point, any kind of traditional, like union work or anything else I might have been attempting to do was over, and it was time to go full force into cannabis, and that's about the time I started my commercial projects.
I love how almost starkly green and white this room is. I feel like I just see two colors.
Right.
It's just like clean white cement, white walls, or just beautiful lush green plants. So what ranges are Tikkun looking for in veg for those?
So anywhere from 50 to 100% in the moisture is fine. I like to plant around 50 to 75%. Then when you water, you're going to go to full saturation, and then there's going to be a certain dry down. The exact amount of dry down is proprietary. We won't really talk about that. You're going to look for a certain amount of dry down, and then you're going to look for a full saturation again. And we feel it's very important to have a hand water during veg, because within this bag, you have all of this real estate inside. If I stick a dripper here and a dripper here, it's going to go straight down and through the bag. Now you will get some dispersion, but for the most part, most of the water is going to come sit in the bottom part of this, and your feeder roots are going to be having to come down here to get your water. You're not going to have good root development here.
Let's talk about the transplanting process. So that room where you guys are doing tissue culture, propagation, it's obviously having so much consistency. What helps you guys kind of keep those plants healthy going from that room to this one?
There's a few different factors. The SOPs are where it's going to start, but also you're going to have a few key products that are in there. One of them is, especially in that rooting stage and propagation stage, any transplant stage really, is going to be a great white or a beneficial bacteria. It's an endo and ecto mycorrhizae. It's going to help grow healthy, strong roots. We get high success rates in the 98, 99% rate. 10 to 12 days usually on our clones to harden off from start. And every time we transplant, we're going to open up that hole. We're going to make direct root contact with the great white. We're going to drop it in, and what that does is just give us rapid root growth. And we're noticing that our pots are full of roots. Our uptake is a little bit better, a little bit higher on the nutrient regimen, no burn. Really pushes the plants to their maximum potential and gives us that health edge that we're looking for.
Got it. So you're seeing faster growth rates out of the plants. They can eat more.
100%.
Yeah.
So we do use a traditional rooting gel, but at the same time, you're going to look for those benefits of that living organism to go ahead and process and get us set up for that healthy root zone. What really settled me on great white, to tell you the truth, a lot of the top guys I knew in cloning, let's say 4 and 5 years ago, were all using great white. And I was using a different brand at the time, and I had a little bit of a clone service going. So to me, those products are everything. When you're doing a clone service or a propagation service, it's really all about your bacteria and your gel. So there's really only there's two main products that you're using, and then it's your methods after that. But as far as the health of the clone, the development of the clone, it's really going to come down to using those top-notch products, that great white. You might use a nice silicate with it, and you're going to make sure your pH and your EC are dialed in, as well as the environment.
Okay, learned something new about Chris today. So you used to manage kind of like a propagation service, so
Absolutely.
you're getting clones out. So, when you're managing a service like that, your product really is roots.
Your product is absolutely roots. They're starts, they're babies. It's the most important phase of getting this thing correct. You're going to use those top quality products. You don't skimp in that area, and you get your methods correct, and you're going to get a healthy start that's fast.
Being in this bedroom is making me extremely curious and excited for the flower room. Can we head that way?
Of course, let's go see where the magic happens.
we're surrounded by these plants that you carefully crafted the environment of. And, environmental control also means light. And you guys are using full LEDs in this entire facility.
Correct. Very
Let's talk
efficient.
about that.
Very efficient LED, Spectrum King LED. Special thing about our lighting system, there's a few special things, but the main thing is the ability to take the 480 volt power. We're able to get 40 lights onto one IHP drive, and we're also able to essentially bring the draw of the light down to 1 amp per light.
Wow.
And where a typical double-ended light might be producing 5 units of heat, we're producing 1 to 1.5. So you're taking a lot of heat out of the lighting. You're also improving the spectrum. We have the finest CRI of any light that we've tested internally here.
How many plants are in this room?
In this room, there are just over 5,000.
Got it. So are you storing the water here? Is it direct feed?
Yeah, we are storing. We do have 15,000 gallons of storage on each side, and we are going to add more auxiliary storage. We're thinking about possibly a 75,000 gallon underground tank.
Wow.
As well.
That's a big boy. So everyone loves to know what nutrients, facilities are using. So let's jump into it. Give us a spill of secrets.
Front row ag is definitely a big part of what we do here. We are working with companies like HGV Nutrients. We're working with companies like Power SI. Power SI is always going to go first. It's a monosilicic acid. It's going to help with uptake. It's going to help with ease any kind of shock from under or over watering. And it's basically, if you think of it in concept of a straw, it's a bigger straw. You're building a bigger, wider straw. You're going to be able to uptake more food. You're going to be able to transpire and respirate faster. And you're going to be able to, bottom line, uptake more nutrients. And the plant cell wall strengthened the entire time. So a good side effect of the Power SI usage is having very, very strong stems that don't break on you. They're able to withhold super cropping. They're able to uphold a medium stress training that we do put our plants through consistently.
Chris, what about your training or trellising strategies? What are you guys doing here?
So what you see here is a common culture trellis. It's going to be a 4 foot. Now we're with common culture. We're getting 4,900 and change out of these rolls. A good rule of thumb is every 1.5 foot you could say we'll have a layer of trellis. This one will probably get a second one laid down on it in the next week or so and pulled down tight, just so that as these get to getting heavy, they don't start flopping all over each other.
Yeah, well, these plants are beautiful, and the last thing I want to do is see them cut down, but I think that's the next stage of the plant life cycle. Let's go check out drying. Here we are, and this is, to me, looks like a lot like a drying to curing room.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, and what do we have right behind us right here?
This is midnight.